Hey guys! When it comes to buying a Sony E-mount camera on a budget, most people seem to recommend the Sony a6000, but I decided to go for something a little older and higher end. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Sony NEX 7. Released back in 2011, the NEX 7 was one of the first high-end APS-C mirrorless cameras Sony built around their new, at the time, E-mount. This mount has matured greatly in the last 7 years and now has 60 native lenses available to purchase. Any lens you could possibly want, you can buy. And third parties have made tons of accessories like this FD to NEX focal reducer that lets me use all of my old Canon glass with almost no crop factor. Comparatively, Canon's mirrorless system launched only a year later and only has 7 lenses and almost no third-party accessories. The camera's control layout is very similar to an a6300, but unfortunately, the software is not. Pressing the button in the center of the wheel allows you to change between various shooting modes, rotating the wheel changes the ISO, the top left knob adjusts the shutter speed, and the right knob adjusts exposure compensation. And the bottom button here zooms in for adjusting focus. The menu system is literally one of the worst I've ever used. I have a Sony Handycam from 1999 that has a much more intuitive menu. There are 6 categories into which all of the settings are arranged. This might not sound that bad, but the categories aren't very specific, and finding what you need can take quite a while if you're not familiar with the camera. Not only that, but you have to change the playback mode in settings to whether you want to look at your pictures or your videos, and while you're browsing, it's pretty sluggish to respond to input or start playing a video. Another downside is that it can only really record video in the very dated AVC HD format. That said, as long as you don't push the color grade too far, it looks pretty good. Here's some samples. One major issue is that you'll only get about 20 minutes of continuous recording before the camera overheats and shuts down. Also, that nice little histogram here at the bottom disappears as soon as you start recording video. The electronic viewfinder is great, and you're going to need it, because the LCD is about 2000 kelvins too cold, and it looks pretty washed out. But at least it articulates, albeit not that much. I know this is kind of starting to sound like a rant, but bear with me. The shoe mount is a proprietary shoe called ADP, and you're going to need a $20 adapter if you want to use it with any normal shoe-mounted accessory. Then you'll have to contend with the plastic cube sticking out of the top of your camera. Sony did at least include a built-in flash, which works well enough, but still, this should have been a standard shoe. On the side, we've got a compressed mini HDMI output, mini USB, and the reason I bought the NEX 7 instead of a NEX 6 or a 6000, the 3.5mm microphone input. On the bottom, there's one of Sony's fantastic infinithium batteries, and a slot for either an SD card or a memory stick. When all is said and done, I kind of love and hate this camera. Ergonomically, it's great, and the still images are fantastic. Even despite its faults, I'd still recommend it over the a6000 as a camera for starting out on YouTube because of that mic jack. And any accessories you buy will be compatible with any newer Sony camera like the a6300 or a6500. But if you don't need an external mic, definitely spend the extra money and get the a6000. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to leave me a comment letting me know what you thought. Don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing if you'd like to see what I make next. I'll see you next time.